Welcome back to the channel, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Now, a slightly different video. I'm going to take you through 4 altcoins that I think are going to be pretty big in 2023. I'm going to give you kind of 3 that you probably have already guessed and probably would have heard of, but I'm going to give you some reasons why I think they're going to be huge. And I'm going to throw a curveball at you, but this one is definitely going to be worth looking at. None of this is a paid promotional video, nothing like that. Just as we come to the end of a pretty crazy year in cryptocurrency, I wanted to bring you my top 4 picks for next year. So that being said, let's take a look at the market. We are showing some signs of recovery, which is always a positive. But overall, we can see a number of coins starting in the 24-hour to turn green, but a lot are down. And ultimately, this year has been an incredible challenge. It's been one of the worst both recessions, cryptocurrency market dumps, and tough bear markets. And all that being said, we look to 2024. What potentially does it bring? Well, I think we see some positive market movement. I don't believe we return to a bull run. I think that's 2024, but time will tell. Who knows what catalysts are coming down the road? Who knows what could happen in this crazy world that we all live in, this cryptocurrency bubble that we all aspire to make some money out of. So let's get into my top 4 picks. Well, BNB has to be one of those that list up there at the top. Binance been through some pretty big aggressive FUD recently in the backed assets, and whether they were liquid enough to support withdrawals, billion-dollar withdrawals. But ultimately, BNB has stayed the time. It's stayed the test. It has been there. If you look at it in terms of the year, ultimately, it's stayed pretty stable. Yes, it's declined from that bull market, but overall, it is an upward trajectory for BNB. It's one of those that you can hold and start to move now as Binance steps into more lucrative markets, whether that be the metaverse, NFTs. We know they're doing their launchpad. BNB is going to be the stable coin of that. We know that they've moved BUSD as being their kind of core stable coin over there, but BNB for me has a ton of use case, and it is obviously backed by one of the, if not the biggest exchange out there. Debatable whether it's as liquid as it maybe says, but BNB I think is a big pick for next year. Again, one of those you can definitely just buy, hold, and see where it goes over the course of the next year. It wouldn't be me if I didn't talk about Terra Lunar Classic. And I think as we move into 2023, we have fought off a lot of uncertainty. We fought off a lot of concern, and ultimately we've developed and grown as a both community and a set of development team, and we're still in that transition into kind of what we all aspire for it to be. Now, Terra Lunar Classic significantly down on the year, and again, I wouldn't be doing me any disservice, but we know that it collapsed from that top peak of $111. Does it mean that we can get back to that? It's not going to happen next year. However, I think we are in a place where Terra Lunar Classic could be a big play for next year. Absolutely. We have IBCs reopening. We have developments in terms of the burn funds. We know we've got Binance support on the back of it. So Terra Lunar Classic for me is going to be one to keep an eye on, definitely for next year. Polygomatic, I've talked about this a number of times on my channel. I think Polygomatic is going to be huge. We know they've partnered up with Instagram. We know they've partnered up with Nike shoes, as well as a number of other big players in the space. Reddit is the biggest one that springs to mind. And Polygomatic, layer 2 Ethereum blockchain solution, super quick, super fast, and ultimately has a massive potential. Now, Polygomatic, interestingly for the year, has been incredibly stable. Yes, it dropped down from the highs of $2.49, but ultimately we've hovered around that kind of 60 cents mark, pushing into as high as 97, even breaking $1 when we got that news. You can see that here, the Instagram news, as well as other big partnerships. And for me, it's a super accessible project. It's super cheap and able to transact on, and I think one of those coins that next year we could really start to see some momentum behind it, particularly as we start to see further development of the Polygomatic network. So definitely going to be one to keep an eye on, and as these bigger brands come in, it does open the door for even bigger brands and companies to come and use Polygomatic. So stay very close to it. Could be an absolute player. Now, let's talk about the wild card. Let's talk about the one that maybe you might not have heard of, but I definitely would recommend you go and take a look at it. We're going to talk about Medicaid. So Medicaid, its ticker is MCADE. It's currently in an ICO phase. This one could be bigger than Decentraland. It could be bigger than Sandbox. This one is definitely an interesting one in its entirety. So currently, like I said, in pre-sale, what is it? Well, Medicaid is a play-to-earn game, blockchain-based project that allows users to hang out, share gaming knowledge, and play exclusive play to earn games. Now, I talked about this a while back that I think the metaverse was just a little bit too early on it, but actually play to earn games in that space, once the market sentiment returns and we see people coming back in and maybe being a bit more speculative in terms of their investments, I think play to earn games is going to be huge. What are they setting out to do? Well, to create a fun, dynamic virtual hangout for like-minded people to enjoy all things GameFi and experience everything that Web3 culture has to offer. And a lot of people are talking about Medicaid. A lot of people are excited about what they're going to bring. Ultimately, it's been built out with a gamer-centric mindset. And ultimately, the game evolves around the individual. And I think it's a very different way of looking at play-to-earn games. And if anything, play-to-earn games are only good if the game is actually good. If the game's rubbish, no one's going to use it. It's as simple as that. Whether it's on the blockchain, whether it's in, if it's on crypto token, no one is going to use it if the game are rubbish. They quote, "We want to put games back into the hands of gamers, and that's why Medicaid token holders will be able to vote on which developer-submitted games will receive funding via the Meta Grants scheme." That's right. So they want to build out as well on this. So originally going to launch as a game platform with much more to come. Built on the Ethereum ERC20 network, it's going to be very, very interesting. Definitely going to be one to keep an eye on. Now, remember, with anything in these videos, they don't substitute financial advice. They're only my opinions and my views only for 2023. And those 4 altcoins that I think could be worth you taking a look at and seeing whether they fit your investment portfolio or not. 2023 will be an interesting year for cryptocurrency, as well as a number of other facets of financial institutions. We're going to see what happens, but I'm going to bring you all the latest and greatest on this channel. So if you haven't already, subscribe to keep up to date with everything going on. Leave a like if you think any of those 4 coins might be something you might, or if you think of some new ones, drop it in the comments down below. I always appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one.